advice would you give to parents of terminally ill children, or such as in my case, parents that have had children that have passed, to their siblings? How would you advise that the siblings cope with like the upcoming death of the child? Or, as I said, in my case, explaining to my daughter about her brother that's passed?
Again, it's a progression thing, I think, as you said, preparing them for it and allowing them to say what they may need as well to do, or what they might want to do at different stages. Like, for example, the sicker the child gets in hospital, if they end up in hospital and palliative care, what role does this sibling want to have? Does it want to come visit? Does it want to just bring presents over, give a card? I think children need to know about the child going to die. I think that's really important, because otherwise it's more scary. In a way, what's not concrete can be quite scary. Their imaginations get worse than what's really going on, even though the death is horrible in itself. And then allowing that child to participate in its own grieving process, what it wants to have, what it wants to do at the funeral, what it wants to do afterwards to commemorate, how it wants the house to be set up in some ways in its room. It might want some memory of its sibling. It may want to have a photograph in a certain place. And this is where your grief can get a bit complicated too, because your grief can interfere with your child's grief. And your child might also pick that up. If the child's worried about getting upset, not to upset you. So telling your child, Mummy's going to be okay. Mummy's sad, Mummy's going to be okay. Mummy's going to be able to manage this. Mummy is never going to leave you. Mummy's always going to be there for you too. And if you're sad, I can hold your sadness too. I think that's a really important thing, because a lot of children get protective and they see you being upset and they just try and make you feel good or whatever, but they're not allowing themselves to be upset. So they're holding back too. So just sort of reassuring them that you can hold this, you can manage this. And even if you cry, it doesn't mean you're not managing it. It just means you're showing it a bit. And showing a bit does not mean not managing. It just means that is the expression of grief. And grief is expressed in these ways. It's expressed by crying. It's expressed by sitting down and just being quiet for a while. It's expressed by looking at photographs. It's expressed by going and buying flowers. They're just expressions of grief, but it does not mean not managing, because kids get scared when you can't manage. That's when they feel out of control.